and welcome to the 43rd Minute Review Show. Today we are going to be talking about Lincoln, the Oscar fodder cannon that is the new Steven Spielberg film starring Daniel Day-Lewis and many other folk. Normally I'd wait until the next day after I've seen it, but I've literally just been to see it and I really wanted to talk about it straight away. Me and Jenna discussed it in the car back. Let's start with the good things, and the good things are very clear. You've got Daniel Day-Lewis, who plays a brilliant Abraham Lincoln. At least I think he does. I don't know that much about Abraham Lincoln other from films and stuff that I've seen him in before. In this, he kind of comes across as Harold and Kumar's stoner president mate who just turns up and tells funny stories all the way through this film. I mean, he does do it really well. He's very believable as the president. He's this kind and loving person, and he is genuinely a hero in his own right. And there's a lot of other good performances all the way through it. They're kind of lacking in some areas. They're a bit quiet in most of the things. Nobody really goes for the character. Daniel Day-Lewis has always been somebody who kind of can just melt into a character, and he does do it here. He kind of just is Abraham Lincoln, at least what I think Abraham Lincoln is like. Now, if we go on to the things which I have a problem with here. Now, Abraham Lincoln, for all intents and purposes of what I know about Abraham Lincoln, is a hero in American history. I mean, he abolished slavery, and it is genuinely a fantastic thing. It's brilliant, it's absolutely brilliant. But it's been just over a week since I saw Django Unchained, something that showed a real horrific side to slavery that you don't often see in films, not in ones that are well recognised anyway. And I mean, there have been some like really horrific slave films and like racism films and stuff like that. But and Django Unchained really went for it, didn't shy away from anything, didn't shy away from the horrors of slavery, and that is the main problem with Lincoln, is the fact that it does. In a film about the abolition of slavery, you don't see one single scene of a slave, a real live slave. You see a picture, a glass picture of slaves a couple of times. A kid asks a question about slaves, but you never actually see a slave, like an actual slave. You see a servant, but you don't see a slave. And it's that thing that really bugged me and bugged Gemma afterwards. It felt really lacking in an essential part of what this film could have been about. It's like, I referred to it in the car as if to have a hero, you need a villain. For Abraham Lincoln to be the hero, you need to see the villain. And the villain of the piece is slavery. Okay? Slavery, and wanting to get rid of slavery. You see a couple of scenes of even the Civil War, but even that, you don't see that much of. And I think that that's a fundamental flaw in it. But I said in the car, a hero needs a villain. It's like if Spider-Man didn't have any bad guys to fight, he would just be a twat in a leotard and nobody would care. And that's how I left the cinema feeling. I left the cinema feeling, and same with Gemma, just meh. Just meh. It wasn't boring. A lot of the stuff they talked about was really fascinating, and so it kept me interested the whole way through. It should have ended a couple of scenes before it did, and exactly the same thing Gemma thought when we left. But so it kept us interested, but it just wasn't anything. I just didn't care. I didn't care, and that's not. And then I only started to get annoyed, and I'm annoyed now, after we'd left. And I was annoyed because of what I wasn't shown, what we weren't shown in the cinema. And it's people almost rewriting history or just shying away from it, you know, just people covering up or making themselves look good by not showing what it was actually like. And that is the fundamental flaw with Lincoln, is that it doesn't show you what it is actually like. And if you saw what it was actually like, you would care about the film and the character. Sorry, that was a big rant. I gotta calm down now. You might get as bothered as I did. I don't know, but I thought that was bad. Aside from that, other things which are slightly bad is the directing is particularly uninspired. There's nothing special about it. It's all kind of bland mid shots and not a lot of interesting things in there. There's actually one shot in it that made me turn to Gemma and go, that is awful. And Dan and Han, if you're watching, you will know exactly what shot I'm talking about once you see it. It reminded me about something that you complained about once. Okay, back into the world of the review. It's not a terrible film by any means. It's lacking in a large section of it. The performances are okay, if a bit odd, but it's nothing that will make you feel inspired, or like make you sad, or make you cry because of these horrible things which happened in history. You know? It's nothing like that, and that's what's really upsetting about Lincoln, for me. It's a very middle of the road film. A very middle of the road film, and you might enjoy it. For a lot of the political stuff and other things, you might enjoy it, but from us it gets a complete middle of the road mark for being shying away from every important topic that it should have talked about. It talks about slavery, talks about the Civil War, but doesn't show it. And for that, 2.5 from us. Seriously, don't try and rewrite history. Don't. It's bad. I'm kind of annoyed. Don't try and rewrite history. Things happened, people need to see it. If you make a film about it, you need to show it. Goodbye!